Welcome everybody to the latest Deal Room episode with David from the Manna Group. How are you?
Mate, couldn't be better. Great to see you again.
Yeah, it's great to chat. Now, I want to jump straight into it because there's a lot of things happening with the Manna Group, and we want to get straight into it because you're in a very exciting space. You're in the property, the hospitality and hotel space, and especially in Adelaide, there's a lot going on. So let's just jump straight into it. Tell me about the last 3 months. What's been going on? Tell us about the updates.
Mate, it's been fantastic time. I mean, winter in the Adelaide Hills is always great, but as far as our projects are concerned, it's just been going gangbusters. We've attracted some great people to the project. We've got Gina Ashwell from Dancing Road Productions. She's our creative director. She's come on board. Dan Voval, ex-Macquarie Bank, ex-Odyssey Capital Asset Management. He's come on board as well, helping drive things and get interest all through Asia and through his clientele there. As far as the project is concerned, there's such a requirement for five-star luxury accommodation and destination tourism. So we're doing some really interesting partnerships at the moment. So we're in discussions to recreate campaigns that have happened in Europe. So, excuse me. So things such as the Uber Bubbles campaign that took place in the Champagne region of France. So we've been approached to recreate something like that and to partner with car brands who are already our partners and Uber and airlines to give high net worth and high interest tourists the opportunity to come to the Adelaide region and to really have that five-star experience.
Yeah. So, and you mentioned that a pretty major airline is flying into Adelaide direct.
That's right. Yeah. So last week, again, one of our partners previously, Southern China Airlines, has just confirmed that they're doing 3 direct flights from Guangzhou to Adelaide every week. So that's really, really exciting because that particular channel for us as far as tourism has been closed pretty much since COVID. So and we're doing pretty well anyway. So imagine getting three flights a week direct from Guangzhou. We're really excited about that. That's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, so that's huge. It's just showing that the interest and the demand in Adelaide and what you're doing. So walk us through the opportunities because there's a lot happening. There's an acquisition that you're looking to acquire. Talk about that because a lot's happened over the last 3 months.
Yeah, it has. So we've identified several properties. The first one is Artwine, which is in Woodside in the Adelaide Hills. The advantage of this property is that it's almost purpose-built to put 25 to 30 luxury chalets around the existing cellar door and vineyard without disturbing anything. We don't even have to take out a row of grapes. It's amazing. So we've had all of the work done to plan and strategize for that acquisition. It's also an existing business. So there's the Artwine brand. There's revenues coming through from that. And of course, there's the underlying asset value of 2 vineyards there. So progress has really been made as far as that project is concerned, and we're excited to be looking forward to finalising when we're going to be breaking ground on that.
Yeah, so that's a huge one because you are acquiring the asset, as you said, the revenue, and you can expand on it, and then it brings a brand new element to your brand as well.
Yeah, it does. I mean, at the moment we have 3 properties in the Adelaide Hills. So we have a 4-star motel, 4-star hotel with 50 rooms, and we've got a 4.5-star studios with 14 upstairs, downstairs apartments. So the Artwine project will really give us the opportunity to have a 5-star, 5+ star offering, and to be able to cater for the clientele that are really demanding it. And there is a lot. We get a lot of requests for 5-star luxury accommodation. There's also other aligned industries. So there's, film and ecotourism, people who are looking for sustainability and other sorts of experiential tourism that are looking for a destination, and this is what Artwine's going to be able to provide them. And we're very excited to use this as a template, because once we've got the first project up and running, then we will use this to expand around the country and potentially overseas, using this as our template for this sort of project.
Yeah, awesome. So you mentioned a bit about what the Manna Group, the properties they have. Just touch on, how have they performed over the last, 3 months? What does winter look like? Because winter is a very popular time to head to wine regions. What does that look like over the last 3 months?
Look, it looks like lots of log fires and big Adelaide Hills reds. It's great food, and we have a lot of people, not just domestic, but we've got a lot of interstate and overseas people coming who want to experience winter, but without 20 feet of snow. So it's a really good time. So it's been performing very well. Again, a lot of what we do, Dan, comes down to the great partnerships that we have. So working with brands like Nepenthe, working with the large luxury car brands, working with airlines, etc. That's what helps make us and keeps us successful. But because we're also able to align with their brand outcomes and the sort of marketing that they're doing. So that's as far as winter is concerned, it's a really good time for us. It's just a great time to get cozy around a log fire and just to try some of the best wines in the country.
Yeah, and that partnership model is very interesting, because it's a lot of cross promotions, and you're tapping into their customer base. You're offering their customer base and the companies themselves something different, and you're growing your profile. So that's a healthy growth strategy. But what does the company's growth strategy look like?
So yeah, I'm glad you asked that, because we're very keen to expand, and there's really two prongs to that. So the first is development projects such as Artwine, because that is something where we believe we have the insight and the experience to come up with a unique offering that we can then take around the country. The second part to it, though, is through acquisition, and we've identified multiple properties that are perhaps single owner, that don't have the resources to expand or to capitalize on the hard work that they've done. And that will help us grow our brand and leverage our experience, but also our staff, and help us grow around the country as well. So there's really, as I said, there's really two parts to it. We're looking to grow as a company. So we're open to opportunities. Partnerships are important, but acquisitions and utilizing our capital, not just financial capital, but also our experiential capital as well.
Yeah, so the acquisitions piece is a big part of your strategy. The first one you've identified is a diamond property. It is quite it would be the jewel in the crown, being the 5-star, and brings something different to compared to the other competitors.
Yeah,
really
exactly. Yeah, we've spoken to some of the early investors, and one of the questions that they gave us was, well, why Adelaide Hills? And my response to that is very simple. When people think about Australia and they think about wine regions, it's always the big the Barossas and Yarra Valleys, etc. But I always put it back to them. As smart investors, do you come in late? Do you come into something that's already been well developed and invested in, or do you want to get on the ground floor of something that's high quality with huge growth potential? And the minute they start looking at it like that and taste the wine, and they're just like, yeah, absolutely, I can see it. The growth potential in this region is unparalleled. So, and we're looking around the country for similar regions. So not perhaps the Yarra Valleys or the Hunters, but what are the regions that are up and coming? Because that's where the growth potential really is.
Yeah, that's a very interesting strategy, and you're right. You don't go into something that's later stage. The real value is when you get into the early stage before the boom hits, but still identifying really good regions and targets. So
yeah, and through doing that, what we try and do is explain, well, this is actually a bit of a risk-off trade, because the business is already running. There's already revenues. This is not something that we think is a good idea. This is something that we know is a good idea. And what we're doing is expanding through acquisition with businesses that have the potential to grow under our banner with additional resources. So looking at those businesses through our lens, as opposed to an outside investor looking in, we think we can find some real value trades to grow the portfolio, and we already have. We've got at least a half a dozen in our sights.
Yeah, and then outside of Adelaide and Australia, what's the global expansion plans?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I think really for us, anything that is global is going to have to be in the luxury area. We're not into backpackers. It's a great market. Every segment and sector has its value. But our experience and our value is in that luxury experiential tourism market. So if we look overseas and we look into those markets, and some of those markets do it really, really well, that is the sort of thing that we'd be looking for. So, but also, yes, we want to expand, but we're also cautious. So once again, we would look to leverage our partnerships before we did that. So we would see who we know, who we've worked with before in those particular destinations, and then we would make a cautious entry into those places. But we've got a lot of work in front of us in the next 5 years in Australia, but always looking overseas and always interested in great partnerships. I've been having some interesting chats out of Dubai just recently, and of course Asia is very dear to my heart, having lived there for over 12 years.
Yeah, well, this has been brilliant. I love the update. I think we should do more of these because things are changing very quickly for you. But,
absolutely.
Thanks for checking in. Thanks for telling us what's been going on and giving us insight into your potential acquisition, or your acquisition. Any investors who are interested in finding out more, I can connect you directly with David. He can walk through the opportunity at hand and go through the growth story in more detail. But thank you very much for jumping on. It's been great to chat to you, and I'm going to get this episode out to everybody I know.
Awesome, Dan. My pleasure. Thanks a lot.